We're going to be bringing you a complete guide on everything that you need to know regarding Turo. Everything from listing the car, buying a car, figuring out what exactly you need to do on the Turo platform to be good at renting cars and all that stuff. So let's start off with a quick explanation of Turo and how it works.
Sounds good. So, how it works, how we started,
Yeah, let's start
right?
with that.
So, how we started Turo about 3 years ago with one vehicle. One of my ex partners or one of my partners and I started this vehicle. It rented on Turo. Then it had an accident, and it died. So
Yeah,
then that's how it all started.
really.
Easy and tragic at the
What do
same
you mean
time.
by it died? It like got in a total loss or it
It
just
got in
stopped
an
working?
accident. It got in an accident. But when it got in the accident, we didn't know the process. We
Hmm.
were fresh, we didn't know a whole lot of it. So we got in a really bad wreck, and then we just moved on.
Mm.
After a couple months or maybe even a year, then we started it again. We started renting cars on Turo, and we started getting a hang of it. So we started seeing all the pros and cons about Turo, all
Yeah.
the goods and bads, and we started scaling it. We started going one by one, buying one after another one, and that's how we started with a bad. We started with a bad taste of mouth with the first vehicle.
Right. Okay.
So now getting more into the details on how Turo works.
Hmm.
Uh, we started about 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 3 4 years ago,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Oh,
now going in full time. It's been 2 years, right? Right about 2 years.
full time. Yeah. Not in our specific platform, but in general, full time.
Correct.
Yeah, around 2 years.
And this last year we started getting more technical about it.
Hmm.
We're It's about to be a year and a few months since we started getting more technical with it, and
I think we're about to hit a year and a half,
year
actually.
and a half.
Hmm.
There you go. So we've been pushing really hard for about a year and a half now, and for the beginners out there, I'm just gonna start explaining how to start from zero.
So to start from zero, obviously you have to buy a car, or maybe you don't have to buy a car. Maybe you have a car that you don't use that you're like, well, what is this Turo thing, and you want to start renting your car. So Turo is a platform, obviously, where they don't consider themselves a rental platform. They consider themselves a car sharing platform. So I think it lets them get through some legal loopholes or whatever. But the point is that you basically share your vehicles online with people that need to rent a car. So you list your car. You go through a process where basically, obviously, you download the app. You go through a process where you get approved to be a host, and then you go through an orientation where they teach you a bunch of this stuff. But the point is that you go into list a vehicle, you put in your VIN number, you put in your car's information, mileage, all that stuff, license plate, and they make sure that your car is a vehicle that they want on the Turo
Eligible.
platform.
That it's eligible.
Yeah, that it's eligible.
What are
So
the requirements?
right now, the requirements are a 2013 or newer
Mm-hmm.
and a car that's under 130,000 miles.
Correct.
So the 130,000 miles part never changes, but the year of the car does change because it's, I believe, at most it can be what, 12 years old? Yeah, right? Because we're in 2025, so 2013, that would be 12 years. So that's the requirement right now. It's 2013. And then you have to obviously make sure that your car doesn't have any recalls, that your car doesn't have any like big total loss issues or things like that, because that might also stop it from being
Accidents.
listed. Yeah. And then once you have a car that is listable, then you're ready to rent. right away your car will be listed and people will be able to start seeing it. Obviously, you got to take good photos of your car. Make sure that you have like really nice lighting, maybe like a sunset photo, and that they can
Nice
see.
background.
And they can see like the good front of the car, every sides, any scratches. You want to make sure you let customers know because some of them can be really picky if your car is something more luxurious, let's say.
Hmm.
And yeah, you want to just make sure that everything's good, and from there you can start renting. You're able to change prices and change what times you're available, things like that.
There's also a class. There's also a class.
Mm-hmm.
Once you become a Turo host, right?
Yeah,
Then you're going to have to um, tell them that you want to be part of the rideshare process, and you're gonna have to take a class. They're gonna schedule you with a class at your convenience, and you're gonna have to go over that, which takes about what, an hour,
I think so. I think it took me probably like 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
But yeah, they explain a lot of this stuff to you. It's something pretty basic. Like it just shows you how to list a car. It shows you how to clean the cars, how to make sure that everything's good with your customer's license before they take the car, and like the different processes for how to do everything in the Turo platform.
Hmm.
But after that, you have obviously now that your car is listed, now that you have everything like ready to go, your car's clean, you got your photos up, you got, let's say you just check on the app and your first renter just came in, right? And you're like freaking out. You're like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Right? So that's where you have to decide. Obviously, is this like a side hustle that you're trying to do, or is this something more that like you want to turn into a business? You
Hmm.
know, obviously you should be prepared beforehand, but we in our platform use lock boxes, and we don't usually interact with the customers unless we're around and we have some extra time to run around. Then we'll go ahead and hand the keys to the people and let them know, oh yeah, I'm the person you're talking to on the app, like just so you know. But most of the time we just send them a code over the application. There's a messaging part where you can talk to them, and we just make sure that they have everything set and ready,
Yeah,
that
like
their licenses are in and all that.
once your first booking goes through, the platform's like steps to step. You cannot miss anything because then it's not gonna let you go to the next process. But a few things you do need to know about it is that you have to confirm and that the customer renting your vehicle has a valid driver's license for the term that he's going to be renting your car.
Mm-hmm.
You also need to make sure that you have pre photos, have enough pictures of your vehicle before it goes out. The pictures need to be within 24 hours of the rental, otherwise they're not valid, right?
Right.
They have to you have to upload them into the platform there's an option of a checkout process or check-in process. I don't know how they call it.
It would be check in when the
Check-in.
car's going out,
Okay,
and check out
it's
when the
kind of
car is coming
confusing.
back in.
I always get confused with that one,
Yeah,
but
because it's backwards.
so that's the process. You take the pictures, confirm the license, upload the exterior, interior photos, put in your mileage. Always make sure that you put in how much gas the car has, because all of this is gonna matter on the car coming back. You always want to be very picky about all these things because when the cars come back, sometimes customers tend to forget to put gas in it.
Yeah.
They're sometimes in such a rush that they bring it back, and if sometimes they don't know if they had an accident, they were parked somewhere and then accidentally someone hit them, or like today's or yesterday's scenario, we had a customer that the kids hit the trunk of our car with the grocery cart, with their grocery little cart, right?
Yeah.
So they bent the trunk,
Mm-hmm.
and in this situation, since you have good
Photos.
pictures,
Mm-hmm.
all you gotta do is upload the pre pictures, or which are already in the on the app, and upload the after pictures, and Turo's insurance process will automatically help you get your car back up in the same, you know, um,
Quality. Yeah.
quality that it was when it went out. That's why the importance of making sure that you go through that process correctly.
Correct. That leads us to our next thing, which is why Turo is such a popular option. Because not only is it good for hosts, which is us, people that are renting out the car, but it's also good for the customer because you're fully covered 100% on both ends.
Yep.
Customers have their own insurance that covers them to 100% with
Hmm.
Turo, and obviously you get to pick that out at the beginning of it. And it is a little pricey for Turo when you're a customer, but you get that added benefit that you really don't have to worry about anything when you're renting out the car.
Hmm.
Like anything and everything that happens during your trip, you'll always be covered. And same thing on the host's end. Obviously, there's different plans depending on how much you want to win from your rentals.
It's
But
a 75 or 70?
I think it's 70, 70 30,
70, 30,
60 40,
60, 40.
and
Yeah.
80 20 are the three plans, if I'm not mistaken.
So the plans consist on the amount of money you're gonna get paid
Hmm.
per rental. So if you're gonna rent a car, call it for even numbers or round numbers, at $100,
Hmm.
you get 70%.
$70. And
Turo
then
gets 30%.
30%, so $30 for them. Hmm.
But then the 70/30 will cover your vehicle at a $250 deductible.
Correct. So anything that happens to the car, all you have to pay out of pocket is 250.
Correct.
So let's say that there is a situation with like the rear bumper with in our case, then in those situations you have the choice to go through Turo or obviously try to handle it directly with the customer, but most of the time it's a lot easier to just go through Turo. And then all you have to pay is that 250 deductible, and most of the time they're pretty lenient on these certain things. So they'll pay you out, let's say, bumpers usually what,
Hmm.
$200,
I mean, it all depends. Every car is
five
different
hundred
because,
dollars.
like the Ford Fusions, the
Mm-hmm.
front end on those cars are super expensive. Like a front end on the Ford Fusion is going to cost an insurance claim over $1,000.
Right,
So, but
but
every
yeah,
car is different.
yeah, but most of the time they're pretty fair
Hmm.
on what they pay out, and you don't end up spending 250 extra out of pocket for whatever repair you need to do.
Yeah,
Hmm.
most of the time, what they pay you, it's enough to get the car fixed.
Yeah,
Hmm. So
so going
that's the
from there.
reason. That's the reason why you want to have good pictures.
Yes, that's the reason why you want to have good pictures, because obviously, in case of any emergencies that happen, but it's also why Turo is the best platform for both hosts and customers, and it's why we only rent from Turo because like we tried direct rentals at some point,
Yes,
and
yes, we tried that.
there is a lot of liability in that. There is a lot of things that can go wrong that you just aren't covered for 100%. Obviously, you
Makes
have
it
your own
hard. It makes
insurance,
it
but
harder. Makes it really harder.
yeah, but
Especially because Turo has a huge team. They're a multi-million or maybe even billion-dollar company that they have implemented systems from confirming that the customer they collect the money from the customer for you. They pay you. They also have insurance processes who they have relationships with a lot of inspectors and um, places, shops, or marketing, advertising. All in
mhm,
all, like they've built a really nice platform to work with, and it facilitates the whole process for us in order to rent on their platform. So it's one of the best rideshare platforms out there. So
yeah,
when people say, "Should I rent on Turo?" Is it still profitable? Or all those videos on YouTube that um, it's Turo really profitable? Well, we would say it's definitely worth it. It's definitely profitable,
definitely, yeah,
and as long as you know how to do it, or you get walked through, which this is why we're doing it,
right.
explaining
Show
to
them our process
explain
on.
everybody how it actually works as detail as possible. And if we miss something, we'll probably also add it at a later time in another video if we have to. But
Hmm.
um, let's keep on explaining.
Definitely.
After the pictures that you have nice and set, you upload them, you check the license, you have your car rented, you hand the customer the keys for your vehicle that's going out on a trip. What's next, Angel?
So let's say in this scenario we've put together the customer, you're gonna hand them the keys personally, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you get a feel for who the customer is. You just go, hey, I'm the person you've been talking to over the app. Oh, cool. What's going on? Whatever, right? You hand them the keys. They go ahead on their trip, and the car finally comes back, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now there's a couple things that you want to obviously be focused on in this case, which is what is the gas, the quality of the vehicle inside, obviously damages, um, and lastly the iPass.
Mm-hmm.
So these are all things that we had to also learn the hard way,
Yeah.
because they're pictures. They're pictures that you need. They're things that you have to put in your descriptions. They're things that you have to make sure that people are aware, or at least as aware of as possible, before they rent your car.
Communication.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
So
sir.
obviously you have iPass, which is something that you wouldn't really put much thought to unless you are renting your own vehicle. You know what I mean? But when you have that vehicle renting out, you have to make sure that you have your iPass in the description, so that afterwards you don't get screwed over with what, let's say $100, $200, which we've
Yeah, it all depends. People
had situations on.
get on the highway and they start driving without knowing anything, or people that come from other states that don't have the iPass process in their state, they they don't think about that. So in our situation, we have, or we recommend everybody that will do this. Will rent your vehicles on Turo. Always have an iPass. Always make sure that there is funds on the iPass.
Yeah.
Make sure that they pull from it as they need it. And then Turo now has a process also that you link your iPass to the Turo platform, or you let them know that there is an iPass on there, and automatically it will pay you, or it will charge the customer the usage of the iPass. And going back to explaining in communication, you do want to put in your description that if they don't return the vehicle with the correct amount of gas that they took it, they will be charged. There's an additional fee that you get to charge the customer for refueling yourself.
Correct.
Also, if they do use the iPass, you want to let them know. The car comes equipped with an iPass, so don't worry about it. But there will be a charge at a later time.
Mm-hmm.
You want to let the customer know to make sure that they don't do what you don't want to do in there. They don't do in your car what you don't want them to do. For example, you don't want them smoking in your car, because at a later time another gas is going to get in your car that doesn't smoke, and now your car is going to get dirty, and the smoke's going to get soaked into the vehicle, and it's going to make it uncomfortable. So now you got to pay for a full detail somewhere to get that odor out, and you got to explain to your customers, let them know, hey, we don't want you smoking in the car. Or some of the vehicles, we put in some tags on the windshield letting them know that this is a non-smoking vehicle, just
Yeah.
so they know. And if the car comes back smoke done, and if there's proof like ashes in the vehicle, or cigarette lighters, or I don't know,
Cigarettes. We've had
cigarettes, or
cigarettes left in there.
we found a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
nasty things in there you guys don't
Terrible
want to
things.
know about.
Yeah.
And you find them, you upload these pictures again into the platform, and you will get funded with a cleaning fee,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's another thing you guys need to know about, the importance of the pictures of before and after. So that's that's pretty much it. That's getting into detail on how that process works.
Correct. Yeah.
On how do you get paid? Simple. You just put your bank account information, and you get that cha-ching sound coming in your cell phone every so often,
Right.
and that's very simple,
Yes.
right? What's next? What are we gonna talk about next?
That camera stopped recording.
Oh my goodness.
The
No.
SD card ran out of space.
Really?
Yeah.
So now what?
Well, I'm not sure if we should keep recording in these two and just use the video from these,
Yeah, let's try
or
it.
yeah.
Let's finish it. Why not?
All right. So then there's not going to be any cuts in this,
All right.
right? So all of you know our camera just ran out of
Storage.
storage. So that's why you guys aren't seeing anything else from our both point of view.
Right.
So
You
obviously,
had to use the that button right where the camera. That that camera.
so obviously we own a shop, we own a dealer, we own everything. So how does Turo fit into our complete business cycle? We talked about this in the last video, but let's go into a bit more depth.
So getting in depth into that, keeping it tour related, you want to find a way to always get the car uh, under market value, you know, because if you're gonna share your vehicle and you're gonna try to make some money out of this uh, rental process or platform, you want to buy the cars as cheap as possible, as best quality as possible, because eventually you're gonna want to sell it, or you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna want to trade the car for a newer one, um, or maybe even um, it'll get in an accident, you know, and the car is gonna get total loss if that's the case.
Yeah.
So you wanna own the car.
Right.
You wanna own the car. You don't you need to try to own it outright.
Mm-hmm.
It makes things so much easier. And I know that it may not be easy as we make it sound. It's not easy at all. It's very hard to build a Turo platform.
Yeah.
But staying consistent and having the right plan will work. So the process we've built, that we have, the experience we've gathered in buying the cars at an auction, we would recommend you, if you don't have the licensing, or if you don't have um, the time, or whatever it is that you don't, which is why you cannot get the license to own a dealership, because it could be expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Find someone that sells cars. Find someone, build a relationship with someone that it's in the buying and selling car industry,
Yeah.
and work very close with them, and so that you can learn how to buy.
Right.
Once you learn how to buy, how much the cars retail, what's wholesale, and you buy at that price, which is what helps us, because since we have our dealer's license, we're able to buy under market value.
Right.
If anything, wholesale price, probably as close as we can to wholesale price.
Mm-hmm.
And then we fix it up, put it on the platform, send it out to rent. So our strategy with that would be buying the car today, renting it for 12 months, and try to sell it.
Yeah.
Try to sell it because the depreciation on your vehicle, it's not going to be as big as if you sustain your car for a long period of time. Now, if the car is very profitable, it's very popular, and it's renting constantly, well, then of course, you're gonna want to hold the car for as long as you can, and as long as
Yeah.
you can stay alive, um, because we also have those scenarios. So that's how our dealership comes into play, helping us get in the right cars.
Right.
Hmm.
Which the dealership also helps in the sense that it lets us find
I just hit the mic again.
it lets us find the right cars that we want.
Correct.
So obviously, we have certain kinds of cars that we rent on Turo because not only are they very profitable, they're easy to maintain, and not only are they those two things, but they're also very easy to find, very easy to buy.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. And we try to, like, also, we recommend everybody out there try to expand your expertise, try to expand your search, listen to a lot of people. Uh, Sometimes, I mean, don't listen to us. Go find out there. Go find people that are doing this, so that you learn from them. We've learned a
Hmm.
lot. We've learned a lot from people that are sharing their stories on Turo. Um, Abri, one
Oh
of
yeah,
them on YouTube.
Brijanik. Yeah, she's
We
like,
we bought her mentorship, right?
mm-hmm.
And we went through the whole thing. At one point, we even lost the
Access.
password.
Yeah,
We lost the access. We had to contact that. So shout out to Avery, letting her know that she did a great job helping us get the access again
yeah.
to learn all the tricks from her. So we invest in ourselves to learn from other people.
Mm-hmm.
Learn from other people so that then you can go and implement it within your own and make it somewhat easier on yourself. Learning from other people's experience, you know. So
Right.
that's something that we would recommend a lot. Go
Definitely.
finding what help works for other people. Maybe it'll work out for you. Maybe it won't. But definitely reach out, ask questions, and
Yeah.
it'll
I
help you out.
I feel like everybody's pretty friendly in the Turo community, at least with the hosts, just because we've all had our fair share of
Yeah,
terrible experiences.
definitely.
So if we can avoid somebody else dealing with the same issues, we definitely will.
Yeah, we're dealing with a pretty harsh one ourselves right now. That
Yeah,
we'll talk about it once we fix it.
definitely will.
So
Once it's not scary to talk about it anymore.
that should be the name of this of today's podcast.
Maybe
Nightmare on Turo Street.
Nightmare on Zero Street. Yeah, maybe that's what we'll call it. Well, so let me see here. Let me see here. Let's talk about some of the disadvantages of
Disadvantages.
what is Turo. Some of our nightmares,
So
since we're on the topic.
nightmares. Wow. Well, it's gonna be a hard question because of the nightmare that we're living right now. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna try not to talk about it. I'm gonna try to stay away. We'll leave that for a video on its own. So, nightmares we've had. Uh, be aware. Be aware. Be aware that Turo, it's a huge corporation that they have a lot of people working for them, and they subcontract people to assist them on a lot of things. One of the things that they get assistance on is getting your vehicle back. So you will find a time where one of your renters takes the car somewhere out of state, or whatever, wherever he takes it. And there's going to be scenarios where your car is going to get either impounded, it's going to get in an accident. Your customer is going to park in the wrong location. You know,
Yeah.
the cops are gonna, the police is gonna ticket them, or take your car. They're gonna take your car to an impound, and they may tell you, they may not tell you. You don't know how responsible they are sometimes. So you're gonna struggle getting your car back. So as soon as you find out that your car is not where it's supposed to be, or as soon as you find out that your car is not coming back at the time that it is, report it. Report it to Turo. You're gonna let them know what's going on with your car, and they're going to assist you. And that's where the nightmare comes in, because now you have your car lost. You don't know where it is. You don't know how to get it, how to find it, how to bring it back. You are getting paid for a $200 rental, if you want to call it, or maybe $1,000 rental, and your car is in California. We're in Illinois, by the way, guys,
Yeah.
in Elgin, Illinois. So, and then let's say that your car's in California, or in Vegas, or in Florida, wherever you want, long ways from here.
Yeah.
And how are you gonna get in a flight and go find your car, right? No, you're gonna let Turo know, and now they're gonna find it for you. They're gonna find a way to get it to you, but sometimes it may take days,
Months.
weeks, maybe even months. We've lost cars for this specific reason. that
Mm-hmm.
they got the car, they got it, it's in their possession, in the subcontractor's possession, and now they're transporting it to us,
Yeah.
and it gets lost on transit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a nightmare because you don't know what's gonna happen.
Right.
But I'm gonna tell you guys what. As long as you stay consistent, keep on calling Turo, keep communicating with them, keep be persistent about you
And
wanting your car back.
and be informed.
And be informed. Yes, be very informative and try to also help them out. Try to find
Mm-hmm.
out where your car is. We put GPS in our vehicles. You know, there's multiple ways to GPS your cars, and if you can be of assistance to them to find your car, do so. This way, the nightmare's not as bad.
Correct.
So that's one of the nightmares that you will find, and there's always a solution. So, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There should always be a solution. Um, I'm
Where
glad.
where it makes it a little bit hard. Excuse me for interrupting.
No worries.
Where it makes it a little bit hard, in going back to owning the vehicle outright, it's
Mm-hmm.
when you hold a loan. When you hold a loan on the vehicle, and you overpaid for the car, or you have it on their contract with a bank, and the value of the car, it's more than it actually, if the value of the car, it's greater than, how do I say that, if what you owe is greater than the value of the car,
Yeah.
you have to be scared, because that will be a nightmare.
That
That
is a nightmare.
is another story that happened to us. We had a 2017 Lexus,
Yeah.
and we bought it because I wanted to start building Angel, my brother's credit.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a loan from a credit union.
Yeah.
Put it on Turo. It was making money. It was making good money.
Mm-hmm.
It was paying for itself, and we were still cash flowing. We were building credit for him, and then it was just this past holiday.
On Mother's Day.
Well, no, it wasn't Mother's Day.
Yeah, it was Mother's Day. This
No.
past year.
Well, we bought it on Mother's Day. No. Well, so anyways,
Wait, no,
it
yeah.
was a holiday.
It was a holiday
It was a
weekend.
holiday a
Mm-hmm.
few months ago, and it turns out that the customer lost control on the expressway,
Mm-hmm.
hit the side of the expressway,
Yeah.
hit another car, and it totaled out the truck. It got, thank God everybody was good.
Yeah,
There was
everybody was
no
safe.
big incidents, but the truck was totaled. So the customer reported the vehicle. The next morning we woke up and found out about it. We went to check out the truck.
Mm-hmm.
We actually got it out of the impound because we didn't know if it was salvageable.
Right.
And after that, we Turo sent out an inspector, and then they told us that the truck was gonna be considered a total loss.
Mm-hmm.
They had to have IAA pick it up from our holding facility,
Yeah.
and they took it. They took it. They considered the truck a total loss. Where That's where the nightmare starts again. We owe the truck
Right.
to the credit union. Thank God we've been around knowing the systems, right?
Yeah.
And we got gap insurance.
Correct.
So the truck was owed $28,000, and they only pay out about 22,000.
I think. Yeah, I think they paid out about 22,000. They said that was the most that they could pay.
Yeah.
Um,
And then the gap insurance kicked
and then
in.
the gap insurance kicked in, and I still ended up having to pay. Nothing crazy, like $100 at most.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was something pretty scary because we thought that in most total losses cases you end up profiting a little bit, at least when you buy cars like we do through
When you buy it
through-
right.
yeah, when you buy it right, because you're buying at at wholesale price through a dealer's license, and then you're getting market value for your car. But in this case, obviously, we were paying market value for the car with the loan, and
Plus
then
interest.
plus interest, and then we were paid less than market value because the truck was new, and it had already depreciated over the year
year.
that we had the car on the lot, or
Platform.
on the platform, and then obviously we ended up losing.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it wasn't anything crazy, but we basically lost that truck.
Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
another scenario that you guys need to watch out for, and learn from our mistakes, learn from our systems and setups, so that it doesn't happen to you guys.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
Right. So, moving on from that, obviously, there's situations where you will need to contact support, which in those cases, there is situations when you have a maintenance issue with your car and the customer's having issues, they tow your car back, or you have a situation where the car's not ready and they bring your car back. And there's three different things I think I talked about in a different video that we had made that Turo can do with your car, or three different statuses that Turo gives your car. There's listed, which means that everybody can see the car and you can rent it out freely. There's snoozed, which means that you have personally blocked off the car so that only the person that is currently renting it out can continue renting it, or no one can see it if it hasn't rented out. And then there's unlisted, which means that no one can see that car and no one can touch that car ever.
Mm-hmm.
So that usually only happens if you want to take the car off the platform completely, or if Turo saw a problem with your car and they have removed it themselves. Which in that case, you need to contact support with a scenario of why your car needs to be relisted so that they can help you out with that. Which most cases, this means that you need to send them a paid receipt that you had a repair done to the vehicle, or you need to send them out a annual
Inspection.
annual inspection, so that they can see that the vehicle is good. Which also it needs to be performed by a mechanic that is ASE certified. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so those are some situations where you would have to contact support. Obviously, if you need to do a swap for a customer, let's say that, like the situation beforehand, your car isn't back, and it was supposed to be back a couple hours ago.
They also unlisted sometimes for
They
that.
also unlisted sometimes for that, but let's say that the car was still it had a trip rented out for
That same day.
that same day, that same night. So then you have to contact support and figure out how you can swap that person into another vehicle, or how you can cancel that trip without it affecting you as a host. Because whenever you cancel the trip on your end, it affects your metrics on the Turo platform, and it makes your car show up even less than what most cars would show. Mm-hmm.
The algorithm.
Yeah, that's a crazy thing to play with. Most of the time, you have to like be adjusting your prices constantly, day by day. Be changing your availability so that people can see that you're active.
Yep.
You're constantly there. Mm-hmm.
Which we are experts in the algorithm.
Yeah.
No, we're not.
No.
The algorithm, we constantly talk about it, and it makes me laugh because you never know what they're thinking of. You know, like you could use their pricing matrix that they gave you, because Turo has a setup. You can set the cars to be priced at what they think it should be renting in your area, but sometimes those prices are ridiculous. Normally they're like super expensive, like a Fiat, for instance, a little car. It's a two-door car,
Yeah.
very compact vehicle. They sometimes list it for like $45 or $50
Even more a day, by the way.
per day, and then sometimes an SUV, a full-size SUV, they
Yeah.
list it for the same price.
Yeah.
So it's
pretty funny because it's
it's
like,
crazy.
how do you
So
want these two cars to rent at the same price?
yeah, it's crazy. So that's
Mm-hmm.
that's
The algorithm.
the algorithm.
But yeah, we say that we're experts because, I mean, if
We
we
think.
need a car to rent out, we'll start messing with it, and then all of a sudden it goes out, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, we've also had instances where we have customers show up all of a sudden to our shop and be like, "Oh, I need a car, but I can't find you guys on the app." And then we're like, "Well, let me see." And then we're scrolling for like half an hour trying to look for one of our cars when like they just don't show up.
They don't show up. Yeah, yeah. It's crazy. You don't know what the algorithm's like. So,
Hmm.
and we contact our other hosts in the
Yeah.
area and try to learn from them how it works. What to do, what not to do. So, we've heard a lot of things. Like sometimes they say we tried it. They say that if you offer deliveries
Yeah.
if you offer deliveries and charge for the deliveries, that the algorithm will work against you
Right.
because now you're charging for an additional service.
Hmm.
So about 3 weeks ago, I told my brother, let's take all the deliveries off because we deliver to the airport,
Yeah.
and cars started renting.
Hmm.
But then they didn't. So then
Right. So it's
then
like,
we turned on a few cars, and then the cars rented to go to the airport, and now we charge 100. I think it's 110, 120,
120, I believe, is
120.
the
Yeah, you,
highest
you
you can
get to
go.
charge you get to charge up to 120 maxed per delivery, and then we pay for that, or we set that up, and then we had cars needed to get delivered to the airport. So you never know. You never know.
Hmm.
But sometimes it's fun. It's fun to play with the algorithm, try to see if you
Get your
can
car to rent
get
right
to,
away.
yeah, or
Yeah.
see if you guess the algorithm.
Yeah. Yeah, because sometimes you strike gold and you set your cars for a certain amount. You set up extras because you can also offer like unlimited mileage and prepaid gas. That extras, like let's say you have a baby seat and you
Hmm.
want to offer that to
Or
the
or
customers
a bike rack.
or a bike rack. Yeah, all of that stuff. Like you can offer that stuff for a certain amount of prices, and sometimes customers will rent out your car just because you have that offered in there. So
But
there's always those
at the
cases.
end of everything, what should matter for whomever wants to start their Turo venture is to have a plan. Have a plan
Hmm.
about it, and then try to execute it to that plan. Stay
Right.
consistent to it. For us, our numbers are basic. We are looking to collect our investment within the year,
Yeah.
and that's how we break down our pricing. That's
Hmm.
how we try to figure out how to stay consistent on the amount of rentals that we have, and what we booked. Try to stay booked as much as you can. Some weeks are gonna be nice, and you're gonna be booked all the way. Some weeks you're not. So just play with the numbers, play with the pricing,
Yeah.
and just get out there.
Yeah. And to finish this off, all of it really depends on what your goal is. Because if you have, let's say, a couple cars, one, two cars, let's say three cars at most, just because you have those with your family and you were like, why not? Let's rent them out. All of that stuff shouldn't really apply to you in the sense that that this should just be a side hustle for you, to be honest. But if you're looking to scale, if you're looking to say what 20 cars, 30 cars, 40 cars, you get to 40 cars and you're like, you know what, I want to double my fleet, then in those cases you really want to start paying attention to all of this and figure out exactly what your plan is for everything, what your numbers are, how much you're making, how many trips you're shooting out for, like all of that stuff starts to matter. Your reviews, customers can review you and that affects you like terribly if they give you anything under a 5-star review. So
Correct.
there's just a lot of stuff that if you're looking to make this your main business or something near to your main business, you really need to focus on how you're structuring it.
Get the 5 stars.
Yeah, get the 5 stars.
Get the 5 stars. So in conclusion, to finalize this video today, I want to say and to tell everybody out there that uh, again, and clarify the reason of our videos is to inform everybody, tell everybody our secrets, like Alex Hermosi said in his last video.
Yeah.
Don't hide it. You know, we will give you guys our secrets, and if we haven't, and if you guys need to know anything else or have questions about it, we will share them with you at no expense. We're not charging for this. We're creating this content for the only purpose of teaching,
Right.
sharing what we're doing, how it's helping us,
Mm-hmm.
and it excites us to do this and to work in the automotive field, or
Yep.
at least it does to me. It doesn't so much to Angel,
Not really, but I mean, it's family business.
right?
Yeah.
Well, he'll eventually learn to like it, or
Yeah.
we're gonna give him the boot,
Well,
or hopefully he doesn't get in a car accident like Heavy,
hopefully. Yeah. That's a whole nother video to make.
which will come soon. We'll talk about it. The Heavy accident.
The Javi accident video.
All right, guys.
And
Well,
sales.
thank you. Have a good night.
Thank
See
you.
you guys soon.
See ya.